Am I? You are now, but am I?
Okay. How about now?
No. Can you hear me? It's just like frozen
Oh,
on my
okay.
screen. Hang on. Okay.
Yeah, I can
Now can
see.
you see me okay?
You're wearing your sweater. Wait, it's really hard to hear you. I'm gonna try to put this headset on. See.
This is my first ever. Okay.
Let me see. Mm, let's see. Can I say something? It's not picking up. I don't know why it's not picking up, but it's okay. I can do it without. I'll do it without this. It's fine.
Okay. Because I was like, I
Okay.
can hear you. Yeah. Freezing me. I don't know what's going on with that, but on the
Okay. Um.
I was like, this is the old to make.
No, why would we do this? Both of us, we are not tech savvy. I'm probably just a little bit better than Bella. Oh, you're frozen again. Mm. Hey guys.
Going in and out. There's really not anything I can do about that
It's better now.
because my Wi-Fi says it's fine. I don't know. I was like, there's not really anything I can do.
I think it should be okay now.
Yeah, okay. Hopefully. I was like, I'm trying to think, like, what the hell could I even do? I was trying to do it from my iPad, and neither of my Bluetooth would connect to the iPad, and nobody can hear the iPad unless I'm using a Bluetooth. So I was like, okay, that's not
Uh,
going to work. Um, and it was a pain in the ass even trying to get anything set up in here because I currently have two tables in my kitchen right now because I finally bought a new one. And so I'm waiting for Kiddo's dad to come pick up the old one. no room in here. Like, it looks okay from this end. Like, it's a disaster right now.
Wait, I'm gonna try. Okay.
About all the tech issues. Retrograde, so I should have done this Dinero, and he's actually launched his own YouTube channel. What day are you
Yay.
launching? What day are you launching?
It's frozen again, but I think you're saying it's time for me to. Do you want me to just go ahead and can you hear me clearly? I can just start talking if you want me to.
I can hear you fine on my side. I hope everybody in the chat can hear. Yeah, I was saying if you want to introduce yourself and talk about when your channel is launching.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce myself. I am Dario, the Dinero. I'm originally from the beautiful island of Barbados. So if you do hear an accent, that's where it's from. I do live in the United States of America. I have been in the financial industry for about 8 years. And throughout those 8 years, it's been very interesting. Uh, Sorry about that. Um, I am a manager. I am a loan officer, notary public. So on your day to day, I am the guy that's sitting in the office at the branch that you would come into. And if you had an issue, problems, I'm the guy that would probably solve them for you or at least get you on to the right person to help you out. And in this stage in my life, I'm creating Dario the Dinero is my own business where I can help and assist people even more without having limitations, regulations that and policies that I have to follow under the banking umbrella. Um, I'm thoroughly excited for this journey. And yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at Dario the Dinero. You can also subscribe to my channel at Dario Dinero and my website DariotheDinero.com will be coming on the 1st of January. So look out for that. You can actually book consultations with me. I'm providing 3 consultations right now. They're going to be in the realm of savings, paying off debt, um, any financial questions, whether it's pertaining to credit, or anything, whether it's business related or personal related. I'm pretty sure I can give you some advice and help you out. Um, Touching on the credit part, I will be providing credit repair. Not right now, though. I will be doing that like around springtime. Um, so look out for that. And I really, really, it's one of those things that people really need help with, but they throw their hands in the air and think that they need to be stuck with bad credit and, you're screwed up financially with going through life with horrible credit. But those are the 3 things I will be offering on my website as far as consultations. Um, And I think that's about it. I know Bella, you wanted to ask me some questions. You wanted me to touch on some things. And I'm sorry, it's really
Yes.
hard. I might
So can
have
you hear me? Do the
a deer in
question.
headlights look on my face because it's really hard to hear. So I'm trying to concentrate on what you're saying. Yes, I can hear you. It's breaking up, but I can hear you.
Okay. Hang on. I got my head.
Okay. Is this better? Can you hear
Oh,
me
that's
this
so much
way?
better.
Okay. Okay. Was because I started hearing this like echoey noise in the background.
Okay.
So, all right, good. Okay. So, can you guys still hear me okay in the chat without the Bluetooth? Because I know sometimes I maybe the Bluetooth is what's messing up because it's Mercury retrograde. I don't know. I was ready to tear my hair out. So I was trying to get everything just even set up to do all of this right now. Okay, good. You guys can hear me. All right. Because sometimes you guys can't hear me without the Bluetooth. And so that's why it's just like my go to. Like, let me turn it on and make sure so I don't have to go and try to get it to connect in the middle of the stream because then that's harder. Alrighty. So, first of all, guys, I'm super excited that Dario's launching because I've literally been on his butt about doing. We were just going back and forth. Then we started DMing. Then we like just became friends. And then like when a second I found out what he does for a living, like I started asking him all these questions just for my own self-sake. And then I was like, dude, you need to help people and be doing this. And then finally he's like, Bella, okay, think and I was just like, yes, finally.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I just wanted to ask you about is if we could go over real quick because I know like there was so much back and forth for people on Cashaps and Venmos, or were we not? And now I know there's been some changes. If you wanted to just address that real quick.
Yes. Okay, so our lovely, I forgot what it was. It was a tax bill, not a tax bill. It was a bill that was passed back in 2021, I believe, or maybe 2020. It's such a blur, those 2 years. I can't remember. Um, it was, I think it was along with the stimulus checks and I think some kind of funding for the government, and they tied in this tax restriction or this new tax reporting concept with um, instant payment apps such as um, PayPal and Venmo. Sorry, hold on.
That was my problem when I was trying to set up the iPad. I was like, if I angle this wrong, the whole thing is just gonna fall like flat, like in the middle of us talking.
Yeah, okay. That is different. All right. Okay. So, instant payment apps, Venmo, Cash App, those apps. If you're receiving or receiving more than $600, you will have to report it to the IRS. Now, they usually would send out a 1099 tax form, and I want to make sure I paint the picture for you guys with this. So they'll send out a 1099 in the mail. Cash App will send a 1099 in the mail. That's a tax document, and you will have to file that with your your taxes for earned income when it's tax season, okay? And they would want you to pay taxes on it, whatever. But the 1099 is the main focus that I want to pinpoint. If you have, I think there was a question about receiving child support or receiving, payments from your friends and stuff like that. Let's say you covered dinner and, you split the bill. People have questions about things like that. Like, do I need to pay taxes on paying dinner? Like, no. There is something called friends and family exemption that will exempt you from having to pay taxes on whatever that amount is, but you have to keep meticulous records. You have to keep meticulous records of everything to prove to the IRS that this is what you're saying that is for. From my experience in the financial industry, 1099s have been an absolute nightmare whenever tax season comes. Whatever company, whatever the IRS or whoever is responsible for providing those tax documents, they always get it wrong. They always report the incorrect information at least 85% of the time. Okay. And for people like me, it would be an absolute nightmare to deal with. Tax season is the most annoying thing. Because of course people are upset because now they can't file their taxes on time, or they have to go through the hassle of getting the correct stuff in the mail, the correct document, whoever they need to contact. It's really a hassle, and it's usually a nightmare for auditing, even on the IRS end. It would just really not work out. So just imagine we already have an issue of the 1099s being, a nightmare. Just imagine the magnitude of Americans that are going to receive another 1099 for receiving 600 or having to report 600 plus in the mail, or, for 600 plus for their income on an instant payment app. Just imagine that would be hundreds of millions of people additional to what's out there already. Last week, the IRS announced that they will not implement the rule, and you will not have to worry about reporting the income. You need to pay attention to the timing of this announcement. It was literally about, I think it was December 25th or 23rd or something like that.
It was
like the last week. The last week of the year, pretty much, of the tax year. That is just so ridiculous. And I know that they knew this was going to be an issue, and I know that they probably made this decision months and months ago. But of course, they didn't want to make the announcement because they didn't want you guys to know that you don't have to worry about paying taxes and not, have a free-for-all like we've been having all this time. They wanted you guys to be worried about paying taxes or, whatnot, to restrict you from having an easy way of payment or transacting business. So yes, you don't have to worry about that 600 tax threshold for the year of 2023. I don't foresee it being implemented really until they've really fixed their system on providing the 1099s. I really don't. So
yeah, I just wanted to say a couple things and answer one of the questions in the chat. It's $600 in a single year, Teddy.
Yeah.
So if we, that adds up pretty quick. Not many people are getting $600 cash apps in one transaction, but it's easy to get $600 in a year, especially if you're somebody that's doing business online and accepting payments through Cash App for whatever reason. And then one thing that I wanted to say is, like the thing that I was thinking about this whole thing is what a hassle for people who've never had to deal with a 1099 reporting. I mean, those of us, like, I've been a 1099 employee for what, since 2014 now. So, and even before that, when I worked on Psychic Lines part time, when I was still working regular jobs, I still had to include that in my tax reporting. And even the tax people would always be like, like, oh God, trying to figure it out, everything. And it's like, they'd always be like, you're going to get less on your refunds because it's going to go to cover this. And I was like, as long as it's not coming out of my pocket, I don't care. I mean, obviously now it does. It's like, what do you want me to do? Commit tax fraud and not report it because to make your job easier, because they'd really act all funky about it. But it's definitely, and I know, like, because again, when I used to work on Psychic Lines, like when we would get them, sometimes it's like, I did not make $500,000 this year. Why is they put like an extra zero, or like a bunch of extra zeros, or they put wrong things, or they break it down wrong per month, and it's like they made 99% of their income in January and then didn't make anything for June, July, and August. We would have to fight with them to send us the right ones. And then we'd be on pins and needles that we would get it back to file and still be under, the right timing and not get in trouble for filing late. Let me see, because somebody had a
So
question.
you're aware of the issues that, that can happen with the 1099s. So it just, just imagine like people like the Cashapp, like some people probably don't even know that they should be expecting a 1099 in the mail.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of people who didn't. And the thing that I always felt like, the first and foremost, a lot of people, when we were all of a sudden getting all these stimmies or stimulus checks, as people are calling them, and all the PPP loans and all the other stuff that was going on, everybody kept saying they're going to get us in one way or another on the back end. And then everybody's like, and here it is.
Here it is.
The thing that I felt like was like they were trying to catch all the people that were trying to get away with, certain things, like, oh, just deposit it in my Cash Apps, taxes, and all that, or the money launderers or whatever. So of course, not only because it was going to make it hard for Uncle Sam to have to deal with all this extra paperwork, but on top of it, because the payment platforms themselves were like, this is a nightmare for us to have to give all of these people 1099s.
Yeah. It's bizarre.
Because it went from
I can't see it.
There's definitely people who get 1099s from Cash App anyways. Like if you have a business account, like I said earlier, that you do a lot of transactions through Cash App for your business or PayPal or whatever. But when you suddenly have to issue it to pretty much 95% of the people that utilize your services, then that's where, the stress comes in from it. But somebody wanted to know, what if you are transferring money between your bank accounts? I think you're probably talking about, what do you mean by that? Because I'm confused. Are you talking about using Zelle to transfer it? Because Zelle is exempt from all of this, right?
Yes, I wanted to mention that Zelle is one of the instant payment apps that they're exempt. They are not involved and they're not considered third party for some odd reason. Well, I would say the odd reason is because I remember like around 2017, a lot of banks were supporting and backing Zelle. I don't know if you guys might have noticed it at all in your own personal bank, but where I worked, they were promoting and pushing Zelle like down our customers' throat. And I can't remember which, I think it's bank owned, a bank owned platform, and originally it was included, but the banks got Congress to exempt Zelle. So if you want to use Zelle, wink, wink, go ahead and use Zelle. It's not included in the tax threshold as of right now. That could change, I'm not sure, but as of right now, Zelle is good to use.
Oh, okay. So she said she's using Zelle to transfer her direct deposits between her personal everyday checking and her savings.
That should be fine either way. I mean, you're not, it's your paycheck, it's your payroll, so you're already paying taxes on it, on the, on that end, as far as income that you're earning. So I don't even think using any other instant payment platform to transfer your money should be an issue. It's and I think the 1099s, like, I haven't seen it yet, but I think the 1099K is going to actually break down some of the different monies, or 1099s are sometimes set up for well, this is a completely different one. I don't think anyone's ever seen a K, but from what I'm understanding, it's supposed to break down different things in categories.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's what I saw. I had read something about it when it first came out, because a lot of people who don't have traditional bank accounts, and maybe, they do still even receive a paper check, and they do this, take a picture of it, deposit it into your Cash App account. We're asking about that because they're like, am I basically going to get taxed twice? Because obviously I got taxed when they cut my paycheck, and then if I deposit it, no, you're not going to, because it's already on your W-2. And so,
Right.
yeah.
So you just have to make sure, and it's going to be a headache because most people don't really keep that good of records throughout the year. But you just have to, well, pay stubs you should be able to print out in some way, but you will have to provide documentation on income that, or stuff that's reporting on the 1099 that should not be or needs to be exempt.
Yeah. And I just want to say this too, for somebody that does, because obviously I don't deal with tangible goods in my business. Like, I'm not like selling a sweatshirt and shipping it to somebody.
Right.
And so, there is the temptation sometimes for people to just do Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all that kind of stuff for accepting payments for things. But if you have any kind of like business of your own, Square or Shopify, those platforms, it's so much. You want to try to keep track of it, because Square payment processor, they have the little reports. I've been able to use that to get qualified for loans for apartments, where I just pull it up and it's like, here, look, this was my yearly earnings, this was my last few months, instead of, because that's the thing too, when you work for yourself, sometimes you have to provide more documentation than somebody who, and that's the crazy thing, because it's like, if I worked at Walmart, I could just do pay stubs, but when I'm self-employed, you want my entire last 2 years of tax returns.
Yeah.
When you have to be so careful about your information that you share with people too, on top of it.
Yes.
And, I've been able to just pull that up and not have to go dig out my tax returns either. And it's like, look, here's everything. You can see, these are all the sales that I've made. This is how much went directly in, what I did. And then on top of it, it will separately list out all your transactions that you've had for the entire year too. And so my tax guy loves it, because he was ready to murder me if I when I first came to him and I was like, here's my sales on Cash App, and then here's some PayPals that I got. And he was like, you need to figure this out and make this easy, because you are going to get audited. He was like, it's not even, he's like, you can go to anybody for your taxes. The IRS is going to audit you, because they're, what the hell is this lady doing? So, I always say I'm not the most like organized person when it comes to that kind of stuff myself. So it's made it much easier to do it that way. So I highly suggest, for anybody that is thinking of starting a business this next year, because I know obviously, if we've not learned anything at this point in time, it's that we should have multiple streams of income anyways. So I would highly suggest that. I use Square, but I know Shopify, and Big Cartel and the other sites like that also offer similar things on the back end for the sellers. So just to throw in some of my own advice for that. And I will tell you guys too, something that I learned to do a long time ago so that I wasn't up shit creek when it did come to having to pay your own taxes. When you get your payout every month, just stick 30% immediately. You're not obviously paying everything yourself. So I've been able to do it that, sometimes on some tax years if there's a little left over, I just leave it in there, and then, it's almost like I do have it covered for the next year when I got to go through all of that again. And then that way, because otherwise, if you got to suddenly pull thousands of dollars out of your butt that you didn't expect to do in April, you'll be sweating, trust me. Yeah. Especially with the way that they keep changing all the tax laws on us. And I know some people would say 30% is high, but I just do that so that way I just don't even think about it. Oh, I was saying, Danielle, that when I get any of my payments, because, YouTube pays you once a month. If you do Instagram, Facebook, other platforms, for content creation, they pay you once a month, depending on, how you have things set up. If you do have a Shopify or a Square marketing system, they sometimes pay you once a month, or you can cash out daily or whatever. And whichever way you do to choose to do that, I just immediately deduct 30% from whatever payments I receive and just put it directly in that savings account. So that way I don't think about it, don't touch it. It's not tempting me to spend it. And then it's there when I need it for tax season.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good saving strategy too that I like to use. Out of sight, out of mind. Just set it up where money is taken out of your paycheck and goes to another account that you do not touch. It's not linked to your online banking. You can't just go and transfer. No. Just so yeah.
Yeah. No, I have an account like that too, where I told Dario he inspired me because, when you do work in a situation where your income does fluctuate, and sometimes you have amazing months, and then some months it's like, well, thank God I didn't spend everything I made last month. It can be hard to really dedicate, I'm going to put $500 in my savings every month, because some, $500 to just send to your savings and you really do need it. So something that I do is literally every night I look at my account, and if say there is $173.37 in there, I already know if I transfer 37 cents to my savings account, that's not going to make or break any bills I have to pay. And just doing that, those little teeny amounts, they add up. And then you do at least get to save something that much.
No, they do add up. They do add up. And, doesn't matter where your income is, you can save money. You can save money. Don't feel intimidated or overwhelmed. You can save money no matter where your income sits. You don't have to make $1 million to be able to save money. You can save money even if you're making $10 a week. You can save money.
Yes, But you have to change the mindset of that every time I have money, I'm going to spend it too.
Yes, that's well, mindset is
I
like my thing. It's like
had to
right.
learn.
Yes, elevating our mindsets for our relationship with money. So whenever we go to Target, we have to put our mindset on like, okay, I'm going into the store. I'm going into the store just to get milk, not 50 other things that we end up spending $100, $200 on.
Every time I post anything, like sometimes in Patreon, I'll be like, oh, you guys, because you know how I said I like soap a lot? It's on sale right now. And then I'm like, I know back of my head, Dario's like, stop encouraging people to spend money, Bella.
And you know the thing is, I love a good sale. I really do. Even when I'm buying something that I really need, I would try to find a good sale to convince myself, okay, I'll make the purchase. So, so when you say you're buying, like it was on sale, in my head, I'm like, okay, all right.
Oh my goodness. I know. It's like, I just feel bad. I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm encouraging bad habits. I'm like, but if you were already going to buy it and it's on sale,
Exactly.
you might as well get it. So, yeah, I was like, so I wanted to ask you, do you like those? Because I know it's like really become a popular thing, like the cash stuffing methods. What do you think about that? Is that better than others? Is just as long as you can save, or is that something that you would
Wait,
say?
say that one. Start the question. I didn't hear the first part of the question.
Okay, so there's been a trend on social media of people doing the cash stuffing method where you basically there's different ways to do it.
Mhm.
Some of it's like you start off that like you try to save $1 this week, $5 the next week, $10 the week after that until you increase each week. Some of
Yes.
whenever you have any extra money, you take it out and put it into these
Yes.
envelopes and then see at the end of the year how much you have. What is
Yes.
your opinion on that versus, having a regular savings account that you regularly deposit into?
I think in any way, shape, and form, there's any technique out there that um, is getting you to save money is a good thing. Um, you really have to find what works for you. And a part of my consultation is it's my consultations are going to be a bit unique because it's going to be something like fix my life, but fix my finances. I'm really digging in deep into identifying your relationship with money. Like, how do you what do you do when you get paid? What do you do? How do you spend money? What do you do? What would you consider as fun? As far as um, luxury things like going on a trip somewhere, or how do you spend money is really what I need to figure out how to guide you on how to save money and what saving strategy works. $5 one week, $10 another week, 20. That might help you, might recondition you to um, saving money without you realizing that. Okay, I just got paid. I'm gonna take $500 out of my paycheck and put into a savings account. That might be a little bit too abrupt. You might just do it for a month and then forget about it.
Hmm.
So I do support, and I do use different strategies, and that is one that I would use. I would recommend. Um, there's so many out there, but you have to find out um, before you even start, what are your goals? What are your short-term goals? what are your long-term goals? Are your short-term goals helping you achieve your long-term? Um, in in the midst of all of that, and figuring that out, we can then pinpoint, or I can pinpoint, what is the best strategy for you. So yes, I do recommend, or I would recommend. There's the envelope. There's so many different budgeting strategies. There is one that's the best, though, that I
Well,
would
there
say.
is.
There's one strategy that's the best, and it is, I don't need that shit. When you're scrolling on Amazon and you see 5 different things that look really cute and you really don't need it, don't buy it. That's the best way to save money.
What I'm gonna do with that is that I will put all this stuff in my cart, and then usually what happens is like I get distracted anyways, and I'm like, oh, like let me go make sure that like nobody like caught on fire and check Instagram or something. I'm always multitasking and thinking about like, what am I going to talk about on Patreon? What am I going to talk about on YouTube? Like, let me check my DMs and all this stuff. And so I'll get distracted, and then like I'll go back to my cart probably sometimes hours later, sometimes it can be days later. And then I'm like, oh, I don't even care about any of these things anymore, anyways. I was just bored for 5 minutes and thought it would be like really cool to redecorate my entire bathroom, but now I'm like, I don't want to. Or I realize I'm not one of those girls that's gonna wear 6-inch heels, so why am I have these in my cart anyway? Like, let's be realistic, Bella. We're not going to fall down the stairs on the way out of the damn house and break our neck before anybody even gets to see the shoes anyway. So that's helped me a lot, is this going back and being like, I don't actually want to spend my money on these things anymore. But if I hadn't thought about it and I just hadn't gotten distracted, or my kid needed me or something, I probably would have hit buy
Yeah.
it, and then they would have came and then sat in the closet until I donated them anyways, or gave them to somebody who would use it. So yeah, I was like, and especially if you ever have to go through the process of moving or just decluttering, then you realize when you have a pile of shit that you're getting rid of, it does like make you think like, oh my god, I don't want to spend money on useless stuff. And so now that's also one of my big things that I always think about is, if I had to, like, yeah, it might be fun for right now, or it might look cute on a shelf or on the wall or wherever in my house, but I really think about, if I had to actually, if I was moving and I had to wrap this thing up, put it in a box, carry that box truck, and then unpack it in a new house, would I still want to do that? If
Right.
the answer is no, I don't need it.
There you go. I don't need it.
Exactly. So that's been like a huge help in not just buying stuff because it's on clearance at Target, because the time the shit that's on clearance at Target, we're not moving it with us to our next house. Let's be honest.
I know.
So, did you guys have any financial questions for Mr. Dario that he can answer? And I wanted to ask you, what is advice that you would give, just, beyond the savings thing, to somebody that was either a new business owner or is
Mhm.
to start a new business in this next year?
Okay. For business owners, okay, so one of the main reasons businesses fail is because of funding, or cash flow. I should say cash flow. Cash flow is the main reason. And sometimes that cash flow, they don't realize that there's so much different kinds of funding for businesses out there. Like the United States government, they actually provide grants and small business loans for startup businesses. If you know, depending on what kind of business you might have, like depending on the industry that you might be in, um, they provide a plethora of different grants each year. I'm actually gonna have a link on my website for a small business development center. Those centers, you can put in your zip code and you can find the center that's close, you know, in your area. And there you will find professionals that can get you signed up with different grants, different loans, different funding opportunities that you might have as a business if you are a minority, um, if you are a female, because they consider females minorities as well. Um, so yes, that's one of the things I would recommend as a small business. Do your research on what funding you can get. Um, I'm trying to think. Let's see, what other things would I um, register your business, guys. Get an EIN number. Like, let's make sure our paperwork is good before we even think about funding. Because if it's not good, you're not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Get the business all set up. Um, but let your priority, your number one priority, be cash flow and funding.
Awesome. And then what is one piece of advice that you would just give to anybody, business owner or not, just for our own personal financial futures?
One of the things that's on my mind right now, I would say, is to managing your spending.
Mm-hmm.
Let's use logic here. I'm big on using logic. Let's use logic. Let's not let me, for someone personally, not a business. Um, I was dealing, and the reason why this is on my mind, I was dealing with a customer that was just spending more money than he makes.
Mm-hmm.
Never, you don't want to be spending more money than you make. It doesn't make sense. But one of the big issues was subscriptions and installment plans, um, and some of the apps that are out there, Afterpay. Um, I'm just gonna name a couple. Um, Netflix, Apple Store, like iPhone. They come up with a new iPhone every year. Do you really need to be tied into paying for a phone every month when you're struggling paying your bills? And that's just one example. We have to um, recondition our minds to things that we really need, um, things that we really need and things that we don't really need. Okay, our monthly income should be more than what we are putting out our expenses each month. And that is, if you're having issues identifying that, um, I can help you pinpoint things where you can really cut out things that really doesn't make any sense. I can help you with that because I do have I think Bella, we were talking about our generation, our parents' generation went through the Great Depression and the recessions and all that stuff. They really kind of left us kind of like, okay, here you go, here's a credit card. Oh, and you have to pay it each month, but mm, you know they really didn't provide financial literacy to us. And we've got to really take back our power financially as well, and not be so dependent. If you cannot pay for something, let's take away buying a house, buying a car, or maybe a medical bill or something like that. If you can't, that's something that's obviously, you have a month to month payment for. But if you cannot um purchase something outright, try your best to save the money and buy it when you can.
Yeah.
Our ancestors did that. They didn't have monthly payment plans. I mean, yes, cost of living was completely different in that time, but I promise you, they probably wouldn't have gotten themselves into the debt that we, as a society, um, have at this time.
You know what
And so,
I wanted to just jump in and say, I think that one of the big issues with our generation too is versus our parents' generations, because of course they all had different things going on, but we have social media.
mhm.
How normal that everybody has a $2,000 purse, a luxury vehicle, where you would think that everybody has these things. Because let me tell you guys, most of these people's purses are fake and most of the cars are leased. And a lot of times the real nice house that they look like they live in, it's a rental or an Airbnb and it's not theirs either. But people don't know that. And so then it becomes, I want a Birkin bag too. And it's like, but you're a dental assistant. Why do you need a $50,000 purse? And why does anybody need a $50,000 purse? Like, to be honest with you. And, something that I know, like, my grandpa, like, always instilled in me was if you can't afford to pay for it in cash, you don't need it. And the thing is with stuff like that, it is easy to just go get a credit card and put the Gucci bag on your credit card and go get the loan for the car and go get this and go get that and all that stuff. And we're not even realizing that a lot of the times we're trying to keep up with people that are in Hollywood and make millions of dollars, but we don't have that salary. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't want to walk around with a Birkin anyways, because I'd be scared that I'd get robbed because I don't have bodyguards like people in Hollywood to walk around with me either.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the thing. Like, we've become so disconnected that we think I need to have all the same things that Cardi B has, but I'm not getting Cardi B's checks, and I don't security guards to go out with me every time I leave the house so I can walk around dripping in diamonds. No,
Right.
I can't do that. I'm gonna get freaking beat up and then I'm gonna get robbed. But beyond the safety factor of it, it's just that we've all become sensationalized, or I don't know what the word would be, that we just think, oh, like, I need to have that too. And it doesn't mean, I always make the comparison of, yes, I would love to have a Maserati someday. But right now, even if I could afford the Maserati, I wouldn't be able to afford the taxes, the insurance, and all of the maintenance on it. Nor do I have a garage to park it in. So then I'd be having to worry that all my neighbors in my condo are going to be banging their doors into my Maserati every day. So until I have all of that, it's like, let's wait, let's get our shit together, and then we can be, looking at Maseratis when the rest of life is a Maserati. But I think that that's where we really have gotten fucked up as societies, that we just look and we're like, Young Miami got $3,000 boots. I want those boots. I should get them too. And it's like, No, and she probably got them because she's gonna be on a talk show and then she's gonna wear them at a concert. Where the hell are you gonna wear them to Target? I'm not gonna be walking around, I don't have a big old podcast that Diddy paid for that I need to wear designer clothes on. So that's just stuff that we need to kind of, check our own selves. And to be honest with you, I mean, they're doing it because they have to portray a certain image and they have to keep up with that image.
Mhm.
But that's the thing that we also need to realize. We don't live these people's lives. So why do we feel like we have to portray and keep up with
Right.
images people that I'm not a rapper? Why don't
Mhm.
I live a rapper's life? I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to be realistic.
We have to, for sure.
Yeah. And I've seen people that literally are paying $1,500 a month car notes
Yeah.
just because they really wanted that Benz that, a bunch of people on social media had. And it's like, but then they can't move out of their studio apartment that they also pay $1,500 a month for because they're paying $1,500 a month for the Benz.
Yeah. Mm.
And that's crazy when you think about it. It's like, shouldn't your living situation be nicer, or are you getting planning on living in the car if everything doesn't work out?
Do you remember the video of the guy that was talking about, I think it was this family who bought, this white family who bought a 1 point something million dollar home, and just from just looking at them, you wouldn't think that they had this kind of money put aside. They don't. I'm telling you, they probably don't even know what a Gucci product is. But do you remember the video I'm talking about?
Yes.
It was I forgot, it was one of those home buying shows on maybe HGTV or something, and this guy was like, how is it possible that this couple have this kind of money put aside? And it's probably from inheritance, but still they've used their minds to attain or keep their wealth.
Mhm.
And we have to start doing better, not focusing on social media. The very first video that I posted on Instagram was of B Simone talking about how she, on her $1 million journey, um, wanted to buy a $300,000 car, but she doesn't even drive, or she doesn't even, like, I forgot what else she was saying, but she doesn't go anywhere. It was like COVID. It was the shutdown, and she just wanted to buy a $300,000 car because of social media. And she
Mhm.
really thought about it, and she's like, well, what am I gonna do with this car? So some people got it and some people didn't. It's fascinating to see, but that's happening every day. With people who actually could afford a $300,000 car, but
Mhm.
still don't even have a driver's license. To each his own. But us that don't make $300,000. um, yeah, it's something that we need to definitely get a hold of as far as our being practical and on our own goals and our spending.
And let me tell you guys too, not just for the Birkins, but for a lot of these designer goods, these rich people, like real rich people, they're not even wearing real ones. It's literally, they have parties that they have people, they'll have like an agent, and there's articles all over the internet. I think one of them was on that website In the Know that ran it, that they literally have like a representative person that will fly to China get all of the high-end replicas of everything that they can and bring it back, and then they'll have a party in their Central Park high rise and invite all their wealthy friends, and everybody's drinking champagne and picking out which fake Birkin they want. These are people that literally have generational wealth and probably, like those names that we would recognize, like Kennedy. And, I'm not saying the Kennedys do, I was just using them as an example. And that, they were asking some of the women, of course, none of them wanted to be named in the article. And they were like, yeah, because we invest our money in stocks, art, real estate. They're like, I'm not going to go actually spend $100,000 on a rare Birkin, take it outside, and then have somebody spill wine on it at a dinner party. And they're like, if I can find a high-end replica that looks exactly like for $200, then I'm going to spend the $200 on that, invest the other $99,800 and go buy some rare piece of art that's definitely going to be worth millions of dollars in a few years. So, and on top of it, like I always say, the reason why Birkins were so expensive was because they only made like 20 of them a year anyways. So how the hell is it all of a sudden that everybody and their grandma has a Birkin when they didn't up their production of them? The only logical conclusion can be that a lot of these are not real. So it's like everybody can't suddenly have the same exact Pablo Picasso painting in their house and then all claim it's real if he only painted one of those. So, it's like, don't fall for the shit. And I'll tell you, allegedly, just to cover my butt, the Kardashian Jenners are the biggest proponents in Hollywood of wearing the fake fake life too, by the way, guys. They've been outed in the past for having a bazillion lines of credit not being worth nearly as much as they claim to be. Again, allegedly, but there's articles all over the internet from people that have broken that down. And allegedly, let's not forget, they work with Lou Taylor, and it's not suspicious at all that Kylie sold her business for $600 million. And Britney Spears lost $600 million. So, yes. And I was talking about real art, like actual Picassos, not NFTs of monkeys. And if you didn't see, all the people that were pushing those monkey NFTs are now getting sued too.
Yeah.
And basically, from what I was reading, a lot of those NFTs of monkeys were basically, being used so that people could launder, shelter, whatever you want to call it, their Bitcoin investments. If you look into the whole Sam Friedman case, like NFTs are a big part of the scam that was going on with his whole situation. So it was quite interesting. So did you have anything else that you wanted to cover? Since we're talking about scams, are you willing to move on to Nick Cannon?
Let's see. I would say, since you're on the NFT crypto thing, I'm not a big fan of talking about that stuff, to be honest, because I honestly feel like if you want to invest in crypto, and I might get a lot of people might be upset about this, but just go to the casino. That's how I feel at this point.
Yeah.
Just go to the casino and just spend your money there, and just don't get all tangled up. I mean, because most people don't even understand the concept of crypto. They just thought that it was the wave and it was the next best thing. I mean, there's a lot to say with the weirdness of the stock, or the yeah, the stock falling, I think it was 1 trillion, I think. Like that's absolutely bizarre. And then 4 billionaires um that were a part of the crypto arena suddenly
Mhm.
died. Is like just get into something else. Just leave crypto. Um, that's
Well,
just
yeah, and all the people that were promoting it getting
yeah.
right. And I think the crypto forex thing, it's kind of like everything else where it's like if you don't get in early, you're not going to make anything when you join it later. And same thing with the MLMs. It's like if you're not one of the first people selling Herbalife, you're not going to make any money if you
Yeah.
join it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I was gonna say, if you really want to see and play around with it, use your Cash App card. They always have the little boost. If you like eat food at a restaurant, pay with your Cash App card, we'll give you 10% back in Bitcoin. Do that, leave the Bitcoin there, and then watch how it wildly shoots up your little $3 that you get on a day-to-day basis. That one day it'll be worth 76 cents, and then 3 days later it's worth 250, and then the day after that it's worth 25 cents. Because I did that like one day, and I've had that in there for like months, and it's literally gone from every price from 25. I think it's at $2 now. It started off at 357 in Bitcoin. So over all these months, I've only lost. I have a little $3 investment that I got from Cash App for buying food, but yeah, it's like that's a safer way to play with it than to really invest your own money into it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't like. Listen, this is my thing. I'm not a gambler. I would rather go to a store, buy something, and be like, whether I like it or not, at least have something tangible in my hands for my money. I don't like, and I'm not even like, this is the thing. The few times I've gambled, I always win too. But it's just
Mm.
so nervous because I've seen people who win and then they get stuck on it and then they lose everything that it just scares me.
So you just cash out.
Yes. So I'm just like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Like, I'm up. I'm going to stop here. I'm done. So
Yeah.
it's not something that I'm super duper into. And the last time that I went, no, not the last time, but the second to last time that I went to a casino, I went with my friends, and I played $5, and I think I lost it, and I was like, I'm done. And I went outside and I found $200 on the ground, and I was like, okay. And tonight, and my friends were like, play it, play it. I'm like, hell no. That was my blessing from God for not being a gambler, that somebody else that gambles dropped their money and I found it. I $200 in my pocket. That's more than I would get out of any of these slot machines. I'm good.
And
Exactly. Never invest in anything that you can't afford to lose. That's a really, really true thing.
one last thing,
So,
I just saw some people because I haven't been reading the comments, but I just saw someone saying there, I'm only joking. Please, that is not sound advice of going to the casino. That was only a joke. Actually, put that money in your savings account and save it.
yes, he was really joking, guys. Don't don't do it. Don't do it. So yeah, I was like, are y'all ready to get into Nick Cannon? So I was like, I can't stay on all night. I still
Okay.
have to do some work. So before we get into Nick Cannon, let me just tell y'all something, because I know there is a bazillion and one conspiracy theories around why he's, having 89,000 children. And obviously, I have to be careful about how I say this. And if you want more details, patreon.com/psychicbellalove. Remember, I told you guys, I think it was last week, I've said it probably every live at this point lately. You cannot just, if me and Dario were in Hollywood and I wanted to date him, and our handlers said no, like, that's it. I can't date him. It doesn't matter how much we like each other. They're going to be like, no, because we think it would be better for him to date Lori Harvey, and we're going to set you up with Leonardo DiCaprio, and that would be the end of it, and we would be forced to date those people. Even if we're not technically in relationships with them, it'd be like, okay, you need to go to Craig's once a week, and we're going to call a paparazzi for them to see you guys there. Everybody, people in Hollywood have the most controlled lives. We have much more freedom than they do. So let me just, like I said, I'm trying to be careful about how I say this. Nick got in quite a bit of trouble a few years ago for, his own Kanye moment, his own Kyrie Irving moment. And then what happened after that? All of a sudden, Nick has a bazillion kids. It's no accident that him or Future or any NBA YoungBoy, any of these people keep having child after child after child after child, and all with different women. It's part of their slave contract. Everybody in Hollywood is under some kind of a contract. There's a reason why Kanye calls it the new slaves. And because, or people say they're a slave to the industry, because you have to do what you're told. And so think about it. If you have 85 mouths to feed, and you got to pay 15, 16 different women child support, because you're going to pay out more child support if it's to a bunch of different people than if it's all to one person. If y'all didn't know that either. So it's a way to make sure you're never going to speak out against this industry, because you need the financial security that we're going to provide for you. Because how the heck are you going to feed all those kids and pay all that child support if we don't give you jobs anymore? Then you become Nick Cannon that has 195 jobs because he has 85 mouths to feed, right? Or you'll be NBA YoungBoy who puts out a record almost every single day because he's got a bunch of kids to feed. Or if you guys don't remember, Future used to be on tour almost damn near constantly and on every song because he had a bunch of kids to feed. So that's the real reason why he's doing this, not because he's trying to make sure that he has a bunch of spare parts. I mean, that's a bonus, obviously. But you also have to remember, you can't get a kidney donated to you from a 2-year-old. Especially when you're 40 years old yourself. They have to be old enough to consent to this, number one. And number two, I don't think a 2-year-old's kidney is going to work in a 40-year-old man anyway. So the kids would still have to grow up and turn 18 to, yes, I'm going to donate whatever body part that my dad needs so he can survive because of his health issues. So it's not, completely for that. And he would really have to wait quite a while to depend on any of them for that purpose. So what questions do y'all got about Mr. Nick Cannon? And I also didn't even realize earlier, because me and Dario were trying to figure out who we should read on tonight, because it's just been kind of dry as hell on the internet as far as celebrity stuff anyways.
Yeah.
What about Mariah Carey? And I was like, let's just do Nick Cannon because she falls under that too. It's like, cause I don't think I've talked about him in a while. And then literally hours later, they were like, he had another baby. I was like, oh my God. So, I was like, it's baby number 12, right? With Alyssa?
Yeah, 12. Okay.
Yeah. So does he see his kids equally? Okay, that's a good question. Guys, put question of your stuff. I mean, obviously he cares about the kids. I will say this because, he's definitely making some time at least to show up for all of the birth announcements and Christmas pictures, baby showers. And hey, listen, he makes beautiful kids and he picks really pretty women to have them with. But, you know, it is at some point, it's like no matter how good of a parent you are, if you have 12 kids and they don't all live in the same house, and you also have as many jobs as he does, there really is only 24 hours in each day. Somebody's always coming up short.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I know.
and to or not. So they were no, Sana, this is baby number 12 is what the birth announcements on all the blogs were saying, at least. That this is his 12th baby. Put question in front, guys.
Yeah, I think it's number 12, yeah.
What?
Yeah, I think it's number 12.
Yeah. Okay. He tries to, but he's so spread so thin. Because we have the Nine of Cups where he has the good intentions to do so. But the Chariot card and the Knight of Wands of I'm always running around and coming up short. Like there's only one of me. I can't be everywhere. So he tries to be, but it's not happening. Okay. What's making the women go along with this? They know what's going on to an extent. I mean, don't forget too, there are industry girlfriends that very much know everything that's going on. And so therefore, you know, they're willing to be the contract girlfriend or to be the baby mama, because obviously it's like, hey, go have a baby with Nick Cannon, you're going to get a couple $1 million a year in child support out of him or whatever. So it's like, why wouldn't you? I mean, if you wanted a kid anyways, and, you know, not that I'm saying that it's okay. I'm just saying that's how a lot of people think, where it's like, I already wanted a baby. You know, it's better to have one by Nick Cannon who does have something to give me and actually seems to be a good dad than to just go get some bum off them take off on me or to be told that I have to have my kids with future. Because we all know Navidius don't be trying to pay his child support. He don't be trying to claim his kids. So let's see. Will the kids grow resentful when they grow up? I just like calling future Navidius because it's just so funny. I don't know why. Like sometimes just calling these guys, you know, because they're like, I'm so tough, and then you call them by their government name. It's like, okay, Herbert.
Okay, Leonard.
How are you, Herbert? Navidius. It's like, I'm sure your grandma didn't think you were that big of a tough guy when she, you know, was telling your mom to name you that. So, oh my gosh. All right, hold the questions for a bit, guys, so I can catch up with the ones that are already up there. Okay, so hold on. Okay, the thing is that they're definitely trying to keep these kids from growing up to have any resentment, but of course there's ones that will, you know, because we have the Ten of Swords, you know, there's the Ace of Pentacles here, and the Seven of Wands of trying to, you know, it's like at some point I'm throwing money at the situation to make up for the lack of what I can do, but that doesn't cover up the pain of you not having your dad around. And on top of it, there will be women who get mad. They'll get in their feelings. They'll realize, or start thinking you're spending more time with the other baby mama's kids. Is it because you like her more than me? Or even, I want to go out and date. I want to have other relationships. There's going to end up being baby mama drama. And that will also end up later on affecting the kids, because it's like, let's be honest. Kids can be in this little bubble of like, oh, this is what's normal for me, that I see my dad twice a month, but we have the best time. We go to Disneyland, all this stuff. But then when your mom starts growing resentful and starts making comments, oh, well, he wasn't here to help you with your homework today, and he didn't teach you shoes. I had to do that. Mother had to come in and take you to daddy, day at school because your dad couldn't make it. Oh, he's with, Mariah's kids, not you. Then that's where, the kids are really going to start to build up that resentment. So it's like, what works right now will not always work, especially the older that they become. Poor kids. So Spirit saying the baby mamas don't really have resentment right now. They will later on. The things that have been sort of an issue so far is Spirit saying, obviously, like when Alyssa and lost poor baby Zen, and, my heart just breaks for her. And he turns right around and announces that he's having another baby the next week with somebody else. Like, obviously, that was kind of like, okay, I already knew that this was going to happen, but if you could have waited a little longer to announce it, just out of respect, because it wasn't just my kid, it was your kid too, and it seems like you're just moving on and forgetting about it, and I don't get to just hurry up and turn around and have another baby to move on, because women can't do that, obviously. And so there's little things like that happen, and it's like, okay, I did get another baby out of you, so like that's okay for now. But then later on, when you're not coming when you're supposed to, then it's okay, well, you've really screwed me over a couple of times now, and now I'm getting pissed. So they have their moments, but it hasn't really truly hit them yet. And think about this. I hate to say it, everybody in Hollywood has a level of narcissism to them anyways, because you can handle this if you don't. There's no way, you have to really want this. That comes with a level of being narcissistic. But, excuse me, my allergies are killing me today because of all the rain. These guys, that convince girls to be in these types of situations, they also create competition between them. Think about Peter Guns, how Amina and Tara were competing to be the last one to have his baby. I want to have his youngest baby. It's like, why? Why is that something? And it's like so they try to outdo each other, right? I want 5 by him, because then I'm gonna have the most kids by him, so that makes us more important. And it's like, so you're gonna end up being a single mom with 5 kids instead of 1, or whatever. Because that's basically what they are. You're still single moms at the end of the day. You're doing everything by yourself, even if you're being financially taken care of. You're the one that's up all night with the baby. Wasn't one of them complaining on Instagram Live that she'd been up all night with the baby, and then she had to go to work all day, and that she was like exhausted because she has no help? That's their real reality, but they're not going to admit it to anybody, even themselves, so that they can keep going in this situation. And so, right now, do they have resentment for him? No. But then once shit really settles in and it gets hard, or they mature, then it's gonna hit. So he will eventually have a bunch of drama. So was Mariah the one that got away, and does he feel like she was? Oh, yes. Yes, 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 Ashley. Spirit's like, you don't even have to pull any cards. Yes. That was just, I mean, and that's the problem with Nick, is that sometimes he just doesn't know how to shut the F up. And, that was really what was a big problem in their relationship, because he was always blabbing about her. Future would be the last person you want to have a kid with, right? I would not want to have a baby by Future. I wouldn't want to have anything to do with Future. I wouldn't even want to have dinner with Future. Because at this point, I'd just be like, why'd you do Sierra like that? Why did you do this? Why did you screw over Nikki? I would just have so many mean questions for him that we'd probably end up getting in a fight and throwing things at each other at dinner. Because I feel like he'd be the type that tried to throw water in my face, and I'd end up throwing my whole plate of food on him. What does Mariah think about this? Oh, child, let's see. That's an interesting one. Let's see. What does Mariah Carey think about all of this? What Spirit's saying while I'm shuffling the cards is that first and foremost, she's really proud of herself that she waited. Because I know a lot of people, wanted to make comments about when she chose to have her children, because they were like, oh my God, why'd she wait all this time? But to her, it's like, I didn't have to go out on a tour. I didn't have to do anything. I could just lock myself in the house and be a mom. And even now, it's like she's, again, it's like house once at Christmas every year, make hundreds of millions of dollars, and then go back in the house and play with your kids. But she's even more thankful now, because it's like, obviously, this wasn't what I envisioned was going to happen when I chose to have my children with this person. I thought that he, might have another one later on or something like that, but I didn't think he would have a new one every month. And so she's very happy that she does have the ability to be so stable, so the kids don't have to be counting on their dad and constantly being let down. It's like, I can be the parent that's always there, because I don't have to constantly leave. I waited so I could be very stable before I brought kids in. And so it's makes her feel extra grateful, but also extra responsible too. So sometimes, honestly, she just wants to throw it all in the garbage and just leave. Spirit saying, sometimes, it doesn't break her heart for her. It's for the kid's sake. And she honestly sometimes does think about, should I just take the kids and just move to England? Move somewhere else, take her away from this nonsense. Would that be better for them? It really does weigh on her about how this will affect her kids someday. Because she really does, they're her whole world. They are literally showing up as her whole entire world. And got the Ace of Cups and the World card. She would do anything for these kids. And so all she wants is for them to be happy with the Sun card. She's kind of in this place where it's like, what am I even supposed to do? Because Spirit's saying the Seven of Cups is coming up, and I was thinking, what is he lying about? He tells her all the time, I'm done. Oh, don't worry, I'm not going to have any more. And then all of a sudden, a week later, there's 5 more kids being born. And so she just tries to only communicate with him about their own kids at this point, because it's just like, you're not honest with me. I'm not even going to ask you about this anymore. I don't care. I do see that, she allows the twins to be around the other kids, though, because she wants her kids to have good relationships with their siblings. And again, Mariah is just coming up as trying to be above everything and do what's absolutely best for the kids and work together with us two of wands despite whatever is going on. Um, don't be surprised though if we don't end up seeing them in some kind of a court battle. I keep getting there's something that happens and she feels like she needs to take him to court and get full custody to protect the kids. Because the strength card is coming up behind it of I have to protect my kids, even if it means from their dad, even if it just means having something better on paper because he can be so immature. Unfortunately, I feel like it might be I left them in charge of watching one of their younger siblings and something happens because one of the other baby mamas called me and was like, there's an emergency. The kid got sick. I need you to bring Tylenol. And it's like, I was just leaving for 30 minutes, but you can't leave 11-year-olds to watch a 2-year-old no matter how long you go for. And when the 2-year-old scrapes its knee and then its mom freaks out, and then Mariah's like, why are my kids who are not old enough babysitting for all your other kids? That's where it's like, you're immature. I need to step in and do something about this. We need to have very strict guidelines in place about what goes on when the kids are with you. So, and again, it's just going back to he's not thinking clear because he's spread so thin. It's like, would he have logically chosen to do something like that? And I'm not saying that's the exact situation, it's just an example. But it's like, would you do certain things if you only had 3 kids and you weren't under all this stress and you had the time to think logically? No, you'd be like, that's a horrible idea. I would never do that. But when you don't, you are stretched so thin, it's like shit, you didn't think and you completely screwed up. So yeah, I expect that Mariah will end up taking him to court for over custody issues. Yeah, she's a really good mom. Oh, Andrew Tate got arrested in Romania, not Armenia, babe. Even though we're not talking about him right now, I just saw that comment. All right, I'm trying to see all the questions. No, Nick Cannon is not a prize. Not at all. I mean, some of these people too, sometimes it's like, I think that they think like, oh, I want to have, a baby by somebody because they're super talented on it. Because he can sing, he's, can do comedy, he can act, he can rap. So it's like, oh, those genes will get passed down to my kid or whatever. But I'm like, screw that. If I was gonna have a baby with anybody, I want Mariah Carey's baby. That kid will come out absolutely stunning like her other 2 kids and can sing like that's who I want the baby by, not Nick. Mariah. Girl, just give me 1 egg. That's all we need. You don't have to And it's like, just give up on Nick now. Mariah's the one. She's the better parent, obviously, too. So it's like, that's the girl to go after. Okay, guys, do you have any more questions?
Say Peter Guns, he was not a catch either. I just couldn't understand what was the thing about him. And it was like so comical because I don't know if you remember the reunion where they were going like back, like this girl stood up and showed her stomach, and that was like the pregnancy announcement. Like it was the back and forth between her and the other lady, and I'm like, these ladies look so stupid, and this guy, Peter Guns of all people, and they're like showing off pregnancy as like a trophy, like, oh, he got me pregnant. Oh no, he got me pregnant.
Yeah. Mimi, I can't answer health related stuff on here, babe. Um, yeah, it's just, and that's the thing usually that the guy, it's like, okay, he's or half the time he's ugly and it's just because he has money that made it cute. But like, you never see them fighting over some dude that you're just like, oh my God, like David Beckham, that would that man is hot and he's still hot in his 50s and he's always been gorgeous. But Peter Guns, like, no, if people were fighting over Cristiano Ronaldo, like, so attractive and has like decent amounts of money and like a good job, that would make sense. But Peter Guns didn't even have no money.
He didn't
Like,
have a place to stay. He was staying with them.
Yes. That's why I was like, he must talk some good ass game because he had all the way fucked up. They were competing to be like, who gets to adopt Peter and financially support him. That's why I love though that he's hosting that cheaters show because I was like, that's perfect for him. It really is, and I love the way he owned it too when he said,
"Yeah,
they're better to host this show because nobody knows more about cheating than me."
You're right.
The way that he was like, I'll know everything that they're doing and be able to teach you guys what to look out for.
Yeah.
Like, at least he was owning it like that. I had to give him that. But it's like, it's usually a couple of pretty girls fighting over some dude that ain't all that. Like, look at Blueface. So I think Blueface, he's not attractive to me.
No.
Again, he's
yeah.
But Krishan's gorgeous. His baby mama's a cute girl. I'm just like, what in the hell are y'all doing? But I don't care enough to know what that dude's real name is anyways. Let's be honest. I mean, some of these people, it's like, really, do they even deserve respect to learn what their name is supposed to be? I'm just going to call you whatever I feel like. Missy, he's not allowed. He'll stop when the people who control him tell him he can stop. So they haven't decided if they want him to have 100 or 50. So until they tell him what the magic number is, he has to keep going. Dude, Mariah definitely has a nice life. You know what the thing about Mariah Carey is? Even though she's known as a diva and she has this, seemingly lavish lifestyle, she also doesn't spend wildly, and she does make sure that she's invested her money well. Because she grew up really poor. So I think that that's always like motivated her to, be very financially mindful. And then on top of it was like, didn't she get a settlement from her boyfriend from that guy that she was engaged to since it didn't work out and she sued him for wasting her time or something?
Yes, I need to have that. Whoever drew up that contract, I need to get the framework because I need that.
From now on, if we're all going to be in any relationship, we're doing Lori Harvey's NDA and Mariah, you waste my time, you're getting sued. A relationship prenup, not even a marriage prenup, a relationship prenup, and Lori Harvey's NDA. You want to date me, you need to sign these.
Yeah.
If you're trashing me, you're getting sued. If you waste my time, you're getting sued. That's it. So from the get-go, okay? Well,
yeah.
Keep in mind, you have to date guys that actually to get, because again, I work with Peter Guns. What are you gonna get? A pair of shoes that you left in the back of Amina's closet and a guitar pick? No, Batty G. It's actually a really good thing that you don't know who Peter Guns is, and you should probably.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Lindsay, you know what? Spirit saying Nick does love all his kids equally. He has more of a bond with the twins, the older twins. But that's also because they're his oldest kids. And then, he didn't, because they were what, like 5 before he started having kids with other people. So they didn't always have to compete with
Right.
everybody else, whereas like the newer kids, it's like, okay, daddy was here and then he put you down for a nap and then he had to go to your other sibling's house, so he's not being able to bond with them as much, but it doesn't mean he doesn't love them equally. So Missy, he wouldn't be doing this if he had a choice in it. So, I mean, he would love it to stop, but he can't until he's allowed to. I mean, if you guys want to know anymore, you're going to have to join Patreon because there's only so much I can say on public platforms for my own safety, but also because, censorship. So, oh, you were telling Mimi that, Santa, me and Dario were talking about that earlier. We were like, we need to get the Mariah Carey, I'm going to sue you for wasting my time.
Yeah.
Relationship prenups going in our relationships, because that was so smart.
Yeah. And at first I thought it was a joke, but it was actually like a legit thing. I think it was something about not going on tour or something that she wasn't able to do. I forgot what it was all about, but she won.
Spent some money on certain things to get ready for the wedding. Like, I think that she paid somebody to start designing a dress.
Oh, okay.
So she literally put like, all the different things that she had spent money on. And there was something else, if I remember, like he promised her that he would like pay for like everything in their relationship. And then there was stuff he ended up paying for also. So it was like you broke your financial promises. But yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I have read that there are people out there that are doing like fiance prenups now because people end up having to wait longer to get married even when they do get engaged because, either we've got to find a place to live together or we just got to save up money for the wedding.
Yeah.
And people will start, doing those fiance prenups because then it's like, okay, if something happens, who does pay for, the canceled caterer and who does get the apartment or the house or all that kind of stuff, which I mean, that's if you're having to commingle your finances before you are married, might as well. Because
Right. Yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, you think about it because you're still like risking money, but you don't have the security of at least we got married and then got divorced. If you're engaged to somebody, say for 3 years, you buy an engagement ring, you saved all this money to get a house, you booked the caterers, you booked the wedding venue. Most of those deposits for weddings are usually not refundable if you do cancel. So, and then if something happens and you catch them sleeping with your bridesmaid before the wedding, it's like, well, so I just paid for the bachelorette party, my wedding dress, this, that, all these other things, and now we have to fight over who has to still pay the caterer, even though we're not having a wedding. Like, it makes financial sense because otherwise you're just completely screwed out of all that money that you invested into something that didn't work out. So I mean, at this point, I'm just kind of like, okay, if you want to propose to me, let's just go to Reno that night and get married. Really, or like get a prenup and then get married, like elope the following week. You know, if we still want to have a wedding, we'll have the wedding after the prenup is signed and we're like legally married, because that way at least I'm a little more financially covered. And on the guy's side, especially, like from what I was reading too, is that, you know, if they spent a lot of money on a big fancy engagement ring, obviously, because, you know, sometimes people are like, well, you gave that to me as a present, so I'm keeping it, you know, and it's like, yeah, but now I'm out $20,000 or $30,000. What am I supposed to do? So that's also, you know, reason why a lot of people want those, is just to even figure out, like, what are we doing with the ring if something happens. So which, you guys, please don't feel, the diamond industry is the biggest scam ever. Can we talk about that?
Biggest scam. Biggest scam.
It really is. It's worse than used cars.
Yes.
It really is, because it's just the same as if you buy a car and you drive it off the lot and say you paid $30,000 for the car, and then if you wanted to go return it the next day, they'd give you $22,000. Now it's used because you took it off the lot. It's the same thing with these rings, that it's like you buy a diamond, and if you want to go resell it, you're gonna get, if you're lucky, 50% of what you paid for it, maybe 60. Sometimes you get less than that. So, because there's such a huge markup on them on the retail end, and on top of it, diamonds were just a thing because De Beers had an excess of them that they mined. If you guys didn't know this, there was too many of them that they mined, and they needed to sell them, and other gemstones like emeralds and sapphires at the time were much more, you know, what people wanted for engagement rings, and then diamonds would just be like the accent around the other gemstone. And so then they created this whole thing of, oh, a diamond is forever, and we need, you know, that's the preferred engagement ring. And then, because it was, you know, when people did kind of start buying diamonds, they were buying teeny tiny ones. Then it became, it needs to be a month of your salary. And then it became 2 months salary. That is how much you're supposed to pay for it. And God knows what they're pushing now as far as, you know, how much you're supposed to pay for this stupid ass ring. And so it's, but, you know, again, it's like you go pay $30,000 for a ring. Good luck selling it for 10.
Yeah.
So it's the biggest scam. And on top of it, you know, if you're getting a natural mined diamond, they're blood diamonds, let's just be honest. And so you should just, you know, get a ring that you like. You can get lab created stones.
Yes.
Which are a much better investment. They look exactly the same. Nobody's going to look at your ring and be like, that's a fake diamond. It was a the difference between cubic zirconias and real diamonds, let's be honest. And so, at least in this sense, it's like nobody had to die to make it. You know, you didn't have to harm a bunch of people for it to be created. So, well, exactly. I would honestly rather have, I think birthstones are cute.
Yeah, me too.
I think that if you really like loved emeralds, even if it's not your birthstone, but you like whatever emeralds are supposed to mean or whatever, or a certain gemstone because you like the energies and properties that it represents, that would be, you know, much better, because that's the other thing too. It's like, why do you want a diamond just because everybody else has it? That's your engagement ring. It should be unique to you and special to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like amethyst is like my thing, my birthstone. So I would want to have like amethyst ring. I don't want a diamond ring. Like no. So.
Oh my god, I have like the pretty. Hold on, I'm gonna grab it. I already have your future husband's ring for you. That he can use for your ring. Okay, Dario. I was like, see?
That's it. That's it. That's what I want. Just put it right there.
He just has to get a gold band. This thing weighs like 3 pounds. But I was like, no, he can just chip the big one off. So I've got you covered already. Okay?
Thank you.
No, I love purple amethyst. They're so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's actually like my favorite of all my crystals. I stay ready. You should see my big ass. I have a big, huge rose quartz, and I was like, somebody could just, because I love rose quartz. Really, like if you get like a thick enough band, because it's about the same size, but it's like round and a big chunk crystal. And I was like, you could just get a band, put that on there. We're good to go. You want to say hi to everybody? Did you just wake up from your nap? She said,
"Hi, Whitney."
and let me get the little chatterbox that everybody always hears in the background. If nobody has seen her, this is the little chatterbox that's always going off in the background on all the videos. You say hi, you say, I'm so sleepy. That's the only reason why I'm not beating my mom up for holding me right now.
Oh, look at her eyes.
Okay, did you say hi to everybody? Did you say hi? She looks at me like, I'll get you back later for that. The last thing that she likes is being, she seems to like it more lately, being picked up, but sometimes not. Don't knock over the cords, honey bun. I'm just like, oh my god, don't knock over all the cords, because I have all the chargers in it. For the ring light going this way, because the thing's on the wall right there. So yes, but I was like, that was little Miss Whitney for anybody who's never seen her. If you like cat memes and you're a Barb, you should go look at my reel that I made of her punking the neighbor's cat. It turned out so cute. I couldn't repost. I tried to repost it on here and immediately, and I clipped it too, to where it was 8 seconds long, and YouTube was still like copyright because the Nicki song. So I was like, like I guess I can remove the song, but then it's not as fun.
Right, yeah.
That was what made the whole thing, and I was so proud of myself the way that I actually like synced up the music with the pictures. So yeah, I was like, well, guys, you're gonna ransack my house, saying, "Oh my god." You can come over and take all the incense and candles and crystals that you want. You might have to fight Whitney though. Like she loves to play with them and smell all the candles and all that stuff. I was like, so she might be the one that actually cares. I'll be like, I don't care, take it. It's our purpose. God wanted it to move on to somebody else now, and he'll be like, that's my favorite one, give it back. So well, guys, I know that Dario's been on here for 2 hours, so I'm sure he would like to go, and I
That's all right.
eat dinner and I need to call a client. But thank you guys so much.
Yes.
YouTube fam, it's like our code winter for $15 off any reading expires tomorrow night at midnight, and that's my last public sale. Patreon, your guys' is tomorrow night. That will also be the last sale. So make sure you book if you wanted to get in on that. I'm not gonna stop accepting new clients just because it's going to be too much of a headache, but my schedule will be a little bit more limited next year. But you guys will get more content from me. And make sure you guys go follow Dario. Where do they find you at again?
On YouTube, DariotheDinero.
Mm-hmm.
On Instagram, DariotheDinero, and my website, DariotheDinero.com, will be live on the 1st of January.
Yes, guys, and I will update the description box with all of his links sometime in the next 24 hours. So, and I'll also put it on my community tab when I do too. Everything was just being really glitchy for me, so I was like, shit, because I was fighting with the Bluetooth, and then my iPad wasn't connecting to stuff, so I didn't get a chance to do it, but it will be in there. And I hope everybody has a great night, Patreons. I will see you in the morning for our New Year's Eve live. And for all the rest of you guys, I cannot believe that this makes it 2 years. That not 2 years exactly, but I was like, this is ending out the second year of me doing YouTube. Really started posting like towards the end of 2020, and I was just like thinking about that, and I was like, oh my god, like when I first did it, I was like, maybe I'll just post a few videos and like then I'll stop. I'm gonna keep posting 2 years later, so I was like, that's just crazy to me. But thank you guys for supporting me for all this time. I really truly love and appreciate all of you guys so much, and happy New Year's. I will see you guys next week / next year. Bye guys.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you, Dario.
Thank you. Bye, guys.